The Icons of Real Estate podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week with your host, Tomasz Fonseca, and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business. From $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters in Real Estate Marketing, Arter SEO.
Hello and welcome back to the Icons of Real Estate podcast. I'm your host, Timothy Kaitana. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I have a special guest, but I don't know if you can feel the breeze wherever you are. You can hear the sound of the ocean because today we are joined by a special guest all the way in Hawaii, baby. His name is Val Martin. Welcome to the podcast, sir.
Appreciate it.
All right. Hey, we can see that you're in Hawaii. I like the waves behind you. And perhaps by the end of this episode, we're going to have a lot more people buying houses in Hawaii and moving to Hawaii.
Yeah, we do get a lot of people that make the decision to move out here. Can't put a price on sunshine.
Yeah.
And it's warm all year round. And a lot of people like that. So we get a lot of people that move here.
What is it like for you, though? I mean, you live there. You definitely you live in paradise. That's what I can just say. That's what Hawaii is for me. Hawaii is like paradise. You live in paradise. So do you ever have a moment where you'd be like, I want to go on vacation? And if so, where do you go? Because what's better than Hawaii?
Yeah. It's very common in Hawaii. A lot of residents, they go to vacation in Las Vegas.
Oh, okay.
Hawaii is made up of eight major islands. There's over 100 islands, but most people in Hawaii is 8 major islands. They call Las Vegas the 9th island because so many people love to go there. Like I can go to Las Vegas, walk down the street and I'll see people I know. And that's just the way it is. So that's where a lot of Hawaii people go, but we like Japan too.
Okay, all right.
In traveling, but when I travel outside of Hawaii, I get reminded real quickly how great Hawaii is. And if I don't get off the island, I end up taking it for granted, and I don't appreciate Hawaii until I'm taken out of Hawaii. And then when I come back, I realize how special Hawaii really is.
Yeah, I can imagine what that's like. You leave Hawaii and you go to a place that has crazy pollution, air pollution everywhere. You can't even breathe. You go in there, there's so much noise in the city. You don't have the same feeling that you have when you're back at home. So I can see how that can change for you. But yeah, that's really interesting, man. I always like to give the guests the opportunity to tell the real estate story on how they became realtors and, what motivated them to get into real estate. So I know that our audience is curious to know your real estate story. Val, how did that go about?
Well, for me, I know just as I got older and watching people around me, those that have purchased real estate, got into real estate, and how it has brought them wealth, not in a bad way, but in a good way. How so many people use real estate as the avenue to build wealth. And I've bought a few property, but at the time that you sign all the papers, like I don't even know what I'm signing. You just sign all these papers. It's a big stack, and at the end, your hand's sore. But part of it is I wanted to learn about the real estate market. And if I can learn it and I can get involved with it, maybe I can take advantage in building my wealth as well. And I don't mean taking advantage of anybody. That's not what I mean, but using the knowledge to my advantage on how I can use that real estate process and learning. So half of it was just for my knowledge. And then the other half, of course, is to help others to purchase, buy, and sell real estate. And at the same time, maybe not make a living. I wasn't banking on this being, something that it was a do or die for me. But I wanted to really, and if it takes off, it takes off. If it's great, it's great. But I wanted to help people from the heart, like really, really help them. So that's why I got into it, more for knowledge, but also using it to build that wealth.
Oh, wow, man. That's amazing. One thing that I remembered when you said you got into it so you could help people. I remember that you were former fireman. You used to be a firefighter there. And what was that transition like? Going from being a firefighter to being a realtor? You going from wearing a helmet, a whole suit and everything to the semi-formal and semi-casual just so you can meet up with clients. What was that transition like for you? And what was the first year of real estate, for you after making that transition?
I think it's a tough one probably for most firefighters because, you join the fire department to ride the fire truck and get dirty and help people. Paperwork is probably not what you want to do. For me, being in the fire department, I wasn't afraid of paperwork and a lot of reading. And there's a lot of reading as a firefighter. You got to keep up with the latest tactics and policies that come out. But when I got into real estate, it was not too bad because my last handful of years, I worked out of the chief's office doing strategic planning and budgeting, really writing. I wasn't riding a fire truck anymore and I wasn't getting dirty. So I did a lot of the paperwork that firefighters hate doing. And so the paperwork didn't scare me getting into real estate. The reading didn't scare me. It was going to be a lot. So if you don't like reading and you don't like paperwork, real estate is not for you.
Yeah.
Or you're not going to be very good at it.
Yeah.
So for me, it wasn't too bad. But I can see probably for a lot of the firefighters I work with, they don't want to read. So it can be tough probably for
It would be tough.
For maybe your average firefighter.
It would definitely be tough. Imagine they have a client and the client's, what does page 10 say? And then they just read 2 lines like, I don't think it matters. Just sign.
Yeah. And it's not frowned upon or to talk negative with my fellow firefighters. It's just, we're all different. And we joined the fire department for certain reasons. But when you find a firefighter that is not afraid of reading, that's the one you got to grab and help write your policies and budgeting and strategic planning and stuff, because they don't come around too often.
They don't come around too often, man. The only time they see papers is when the papers are actually burning and they have to put out the fire. They're not used to just seeing a plain white paper with text on it, man. But that's amazing, man. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to take this opportunity to thank the sponsors of today's amazing episode. This is the Icons of Real Estate Podcast Network, the number one real estate podcast network in the world. And that's facts. Well, we help you to achieve your real estate podcast goals, whatever you want to do, whether it is reaching a wider audience or growing your business. The Icons of Real Estate Network is the one that you need to call. Now, you must be wondering, hey, how do I do it? How do I get in touch? How do I start my podcast? Don't worry, we got you. The only thing that I want you to think of, if you were to have your own real estate podcast, what would you call it? You know what? Let's ask Val. Val, what would you call your real estate podcast if you had yours?
If I had a podcast, I want to reach a wider audience. So I would probably call it The Basics of Real Estate, or something inviting, something that doesn't scare a listener away. If I call it a basic or real estate for the novice.
Okay.
Or something.
I like that.
So it opens the door. Yeah, let people come in. If you put a fancy name to it,
all right,
it might scare people off.
Okay. Real estate for the novice or basics of real estate. I like that. That sounds good. Now, if you what are interested in having your own podcast, feel free to reach out. The details are in the description. And who knows, you might be the next Joe Rogan of real estate. So that's all from me. Back to the conversation, man. You were talking about, that transition from being a firefighter and going into real estate. I know that for a lot of people, the first year of being in real estate is not the easiest. It's not just because of transitioning from a different career, whether you were doing insurance sales, whether you were a firefighter or a veteran. Like, it's not just that. It's the industry as it is. Like, a lot of people don't understand how demanding a real estate can be, and how I would say it's not just, sunshine and rainbows the first year, especially when you haven't really gone through the basics of, you need to have a budget for this kind of business. You need to have knowledge that goes beyond what you were taught while you're trying to get your license. How did you navigate through the first year, and what kept you going? Because I know a lot of people drop out within the first year, but what kept you going within the first year of you being in real estate?
I knew there was going to be a tough learning curve the first year.
Mm.
And I do have some regrets. I did make some mistakes.
Mm.
But, I learned from them. And I knew going in to expect to make mistakes. Some of them are costly, not just time, but money. Time is money, money is time. And how do you use it? But I think the biggest thing with the first year is just expect to not make money, or not to make a lot of money. And the best thing that someone can do when they're just getting into real estate is partnering, or at least having the mentorship of a successful real estate agent. Ask somebody and to get under their wing. Let them show you. They're not going to tell you the secrets right away, and they're not going to show you. You got to stick it out and slowly learn from those that have made all those mistakes, and find out what are their processes and systems that work. And don't be afraid to copy it. Just ask them, hey, can I use this, or can I use that, instead of trying to come up with your own. It's okay to utilize someone else's. Just ask them, and they've already made the mistakes and they've proven that it works. And then being consistent with it. I think a lot of people will have a process in place and it might even work, but in the beginning it doesn't show results. But if you continue at it and continue at it, people are going to hang up on you. People don't want to talk to you. Practice your scripts and just keep going. You're gonna eventually find success. But the first year is tough. And I want it to be tough. I like it to be tough. If it was easy, we all would be successful real estate agents.
Definitely.
Yeah, you want it to be hard.
Yeah.
At least somewhat hard. Yeah. So that's what I think is finding a good mentor. And if it's not a good match, find another one and just learn from them.
Yeah. I think a lot of people really underestimate the power of a mentor in your real estate career. I think a lot of people get into it thinking, hey, I watched a couple of Tom Ferry or Brian Buffini seminars or podcasts, and I think I'm good to go. I don't think I need a mentor. I think I read a book and that's enough. It goes deeper than that. It goes deeper than the knowledge and the information shared on these platforms by these big real estate gurus. How has having a mentor helped, shape your mindset for success? How did that impact your real estate career?
I think one of the biggest things for me is that I wasn't afraid to make a mistake, because I knew I had someone behind me who could help me, get out of it or keep me out of trouble. But not being so shy. If I'm out there alone and I'm trying to learn this alone, then the decision making can be hard, and you got to live with the consequences. But if you have a good support system and confident You can go back, ask questions, ask for advice, or even if you do make a mistake, your mentor probably has a way to help get you out of it. Depends what kind of mistake you make. Hopefully,
Yeah.
it's not a big one.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, I would say having a good mentor gives you the confidence to go out there and make decisions, whether you're writing a contract or you're doing a presentation to a client. You know that someone's got your back.
Well, there we go. That means someone has your back, ladies and gentlemen. And I like how you really went the extra mile and be like, no, I mean, not everything, because someone out here is going to do something so big, the mentor is going to be like, yeah, I don't know what
Yeah.
you heard on that podcast, but I
No,
can't.
no, no,
Yeah,
no.
that's
Yeah.
amazing, man. One thing that I like about you, man, is that you've always been involved in your community, one way or the other, whether it was in your previous career as being a firefighter. You understand and you know your community very, very well. How is that experience of being a firefighter and knowing your way around and knowing a lot of people giving you an advantage in your real estate career?
Yeah, I think when I worked in the fire department, I worked in, you could consider it a smaller community. It wasn't very big, 150, 175,000 people. I mean, it was somewhat big, but, spread out, but small community, the community is so small that when someone finds out your last name,
Mm.
they come with more questions. Oh, are you related to so and so, or do you know so and so,
Yeah.
or are you the family that lives up on the hill here? Or that's how small the community still is on Maui. I think it's kind of moving away from that slowly as we get bigger, but yeah, it's still a small. I run into people all the time. I'll get a client now with real estate, and by the time we're ended with the transaction, they know three people I know from town.
Mm.
And so they said, "Oh yeah, so and so said they know you. Oh yeah, I know so and so."
Mm.
And then having that small knit community, they know that I'm not somebody that's going to run away or
Mm.
someone maybe they just don't know. But I think in that too, when you mention that you know someone, it's usually followed with, hey, he's a nice guy, or oh yeah, I wouldn't trust that guy, or something. That's the part that they don't tell you they talked
Yeah, like
about.
I'll stay away from that guy.
Yeah, yeah, those conversations take place,
Yeah.
whether it's good or bad. I'd like to think that I've had a positive impression on my community over the years.
Mm.
So hopefully the conversation is, yeah, yeah, no, I know that guy. He's all right. He's all
Mm.
right.
Yeah.
And so, like you mentioned, as far as being in the community, it's still small like that. And I'm happy. I'm happy it's still like that. Yeah, but I've noticed that having clients and at the end of the transaction, they'll name people I know and I name people they know, and it's all good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's beautiful because that community, I think, is a key to success, the way I look at it. Because if everybody knows that is doing real estate, the old man from across the street, when he wants to buy or sell a house, he's going to come straight to you. Or if his friend wants to do it, like, yeah, I know a guy that does it. So it's such an amazing thing, as you said, with it being so small that everybody knows somebody. And I think it really is a huge key to success. You really get to establish yourself within your community. Now, my next question to you is for all those that are looking to get into real estate. I always like to give to the opportunity to motivate and inspire other people to get into real estate. And my question to you is to all those that want to get into real estate, especially in Maui, or maybe someone that's trying to transition from being a firefighter and going into real estate. They think to themselves, look, yeah, I think Val is right. I'm gonna have to do some reading, but I do want to get into it. But I'm also afraid. I'm afraid the fear of the unknown. What is it gonna be like? Am I gonna do good? I think that stops us from achieving our goals. So I want you to just take the opportunity to advise people that want to get into real estate.
I actually like fear.
Mm,
Fear is good,
mm,
and fear motivates. Fear means someone cares. So if someone wants to get into real estate and they're afraid of getting in, then open the book, start reading, start learning about it so that fear can subside. But that's going to motivate you to stay in it.
mm.
And so I don't frown upon fear, but what I would say is if you're going to get into it, be committed and go all the way.
Yeah.
And that means time, that means money, that means setting aside time,
Mm.
being consistent. And if you're going to get up at 5 a.m. every morning and exercise, then get up every morning at 5 a.m. and exercise. If you're going to be ready at 8 a.m. to make calls, then be ready at 8 a.m. to make calls
Mm.
and start, and then be consistent at it, and you will be successful. There's no doubt about it. If you go into it and work today, or I'm not going to work tomorrow, or in my case here, you go surfing or something, and you're not putting in the time,
Yeah.
then it'll be an expensive hobby, because it's expensive to be in real estate and have your license, continuing education, paying your fees to your brokerage, to the MLS listing service, to your social media. The list goes on and on, from your advertising. And so it's going to be an expensive hobby for you if you're not bringing in income. So then I would advise you to think twice before getting into real estate.
Mm.
And if you're really committed and you want to give it a good shot, then put aside the time and the commitment to get it done, and you'll be successful. If anyone who is persistent and stays true on their path and come up with a plan and a system, you're going to be successful.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. You heard it here. If you stay true to the plan, if you follow the plan, if you remain consistent and dedicated, you will be successful. All right. But if your plan is to go surfing or grab a coconut under the and just chill,
Yeah.
it's not gonna go well. But I love the fact that you give us the truth that we all need to hear sometimes. You know, if you're not that person that's gonna be dedicated, if you're not that person that's gonna put 100% in, thinking that hey, I work my own hours, and you don't really work most of the time, it's not going to work out. You're not going to get the results. You're probably going to be part of the 80% that drop out within the first year. So I really thank you for that, because a lot of people just get into real estate and we have this image of the real estate agent from Instagram that's a millionaire that had drives Ferraris, and we think, hey, that's how we're going to get there. You can get there, but it takes a lot of work. So thank you so much for reiterating that for us. All right.
Yeah, no, thank you.
All right, man. This has been such an amazing conversation. And right now, I know that a lot of people in different parts of Hawaii and even outside of Hawaii are thinking, hey, man, how do I get in touch with Val? Because I know that as a person that is in Hawaii, he knows exactly what is the best way for me to navigate getting myself a retirement home or an investment property. How can people find you? How can people get in touch with you if this is what they want to do, if they want to get in business with you?
Yeah, you could contact me on my website, valmartintherealtor.kw.com. Since I'm a Keller Williams agent,
Yeah.
you can email me directly at valmartintherealtor@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll also see my Instagram on Val Martin the Realtor, and you can contact me there. I definitely can give you the truth about the real estate market in Hawaii, specifically Honolulu and Maui.
Mm-hmm.
That's the two islands that I concentrate on. And it's good. A lot of people come here to buy second homes or come here for permanent vacation. They'll sell their home where it snows and then come out here and buy and then live the rest of their days out here. and I can familiarize anyone who's interested in the market. If you want a balcony overlooking the ocean in the sand, we
Yeah.
can do that. If you want to be up in the mountains, we can do that, whether it's a condo or it's a single family home. But the market in Hawaii has been very kind over the last several decades with home property owners here. It's been pretty consistent at 4% a year. We might have a year or two that will drop down, but we can't predict the future. But I'm of the thought that past performance is the best indication of future performance. And that's all we can go by.
Right. Yep.
That's all we can go by. So it's been pretty good here.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if the waves behind him were not motivation for you to go, then hey, I guess that closing statement definitely is. Well, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate having you here and taking the time to educate and speak to the audience, man. I really appreciate you being with us. I'd never take it for granted because I know you guys are in such a demanding career right now. You could have been 1,000 places, but you chose to be here with us, and we thank you for that, man.
Thank you so much, Timothy. I really appreciate it. It was a pleasure talking with you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if this episode added value in your life and you feel like, hey, I'm ready to conquer the world, do your friend a favor. I want you to share this with them. Give so they can have the same feeling as you. Share this with a friend that wants to buy a property in Hawaii. Share this with a friend that wants to get into real estate. Share this with a friend that wants to transition from a different career and getting into real estate. This is definitely going to add value into their lives. Well, ladies and gentlemen, hey, it's been your host, Timothy Kaitana, with the man, the legend, the man that went from...
You're too nice. You're too kind.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, man. Ladies and gentlemen, till we meet again next time, take care and peace.